Mzwai, can you hear me?
Welcome to Hamburg, Germany, where the G20 summit is taking place. You know, the SABC has been giving you live coverage where possible to give you the first-hand information of what is happening here at the G20. You know, South Africa is one of the only members from the African continent which is the member of the G20. But without wasting much time, I'm joined by our Minister of Finance, Minister Malusi Gigaba, who will give us an update of what is happening, why they are here and what they are hoping to achieve. Thank you very much, Minister. Here you are. What is South Africa doing here? We know that you're the only member, but what is it that you are pushing and hoping to achieve?
The G20 is an important player in the international economy. It has played a very critical role in coordinating efforts to drive recovery from the 2008 financial crisis and to ensure that there is inclusive growth. During these discussions over the next 2 days, we're going to be focusing on the global economic recovery all over the world. The G20 constitutes about 85% of the countries that make up the IMF. And so we have an important role to play in coordinating our economic recovery efforts and focusing on various other aspects. There are positive signs in the global economy. We are going to focus on those issues. There's going to be a discussion later after the retreat by heads of state where we will talk about the global economic recovery, focusing on the opportunities and risks. There are positive signs. The whole world is going to register positive growth, but there are also risks in the global economy. International terrorism, anti-globalization, especially among developed countries, the tendency towards protectionism also among developed countries. There will also be specific focus areas such as migration, climate change, and other aspects that all of us in the world need to focus on. South Africa's particular interests are to advance our national interest in relation to all of those discussions, but to also advance Africa's interests as the only African country in the G20. We have to ensure that Africa's voice is heard. There's a number of initiatives by the Germany presidency of the G20, including the partnership with Africa as well as the compact with Africa. We need to engage with those issues so that Africa's voice and Africa's stamp is put firmly on those programs. Those programs need to be consultative. They need to be aligned with the AU's Agenda 2063 as well as the infrastructure program and industrialization programs of the AU. And we therefore need to ensure that the issues that are being raised there have a positive impact. And Compact with Africa and the Partnership with Africa programs must not be used as a counterbalance in order to discourage the migration of Africans to Europe, but they need to be put up in order to complement the efforts by the African continent to develop the continent and ensure that there is faster, sustainable, big and inclusive growth on the African continent.
Having said all of that, Minister, are there people which are very influential here you are likely to meet?
We have met earlier this morning. The BRICS heads of state had a meeting where they all affirmed their commitment to BRICS coordinative efforts as well as to driving inclusive growth. They all affirmed their commitment to international trade, multilateralism, to cooperation and ensuring that they work together to combat the risks to the global economy. And we are working very closely together towards the China BRICS summit. And from there is a retreat by African heads of state. There are bilateral meetings that the President, the Minister of International Relations and myself are going to have, where we are trying to coordinate our efforts with other countries towards a common objective. Later tonight, I will be meeting with various other finance ministers where we will talk about the compact with Africa as well as global economic recovery from the point of view of the finance ministers. At that meeting, South Africa will be making a leading input so that we can be heard articulating our perspective with regard to the compact with Africa. So there's a number of activities that are taking place on the sides of the main summit and the different working sessions that are going to take place.
Do you have perhaps, as part of your delegation, people from business or those private companies that are very key in the recovery of our economy?
The G20 summit is a summit of the heads of state. They are accompanied by their finance and international relations ministers. And so anybody else who is neither of the three mentioned is therefore not here. It's not only in relation to South Africa, it's in relation to all the other 20 countries that are attending the G20 summit.
Soon after the ANC policy conference, coming to a forum like this, what lesson as Treasury did you get from that ANC policy conference, and then looking at what is happening here at the G20? So anything that we can learn from both events?
We are quite mindful of the policy debates that have taken place at the ANC National Policy Conference and the resolutions adopted by the conference, which are going to be presented to the National Conference in December. So we have listened carefully to the issues that were raised there. Some of those issues are part of the issues that we are going to be raising in the various discussions that will be taking place at this summit here in Hamburg. The most crucial thing is driving inclusive growth, ensuring that there is recovery. For us on the African continent, the issues of that aggressive growth story are quite critical. It is important for us that as Africa, we raise our voice on the issues of global and terrorism as well as protectionism, because Africa depends on international trade for us to be able to grow at this particular moment.
A very quick one, Minister. Particularly on the reserve about the possible litigation that is coming from what has been happening at the policy conference. And another question added to that, are you likely to meet, let's say, for example, the ECB? And what is your attitude to what the F have said about South Africa's story?
As I've issued a statement, an extensive statement on the steps that I'm going to take to ensure that the Public Protector's report is reviewed. I have met with the Public Protector and I will continue engaging with the Public Protector in order to seek an amicable solution. So insofar as the issues that the Public Protector has raised, we need to separate the policy process which arose from the ANC National Policy Conference from the legal processes which have resulted in me taking the decision that I'm going to seek review of the Public Protector's report. In so doing, a next stance towards the Public Protector, but there are issues that legally need so that there is clarity. I have indicated that we respect the Public Protector, the independence of the Public Protector, but I also wish to affirm the independence of the Central Bank of South African Reserve Bank in relation to setting monetary policy in partnership or after consultation with the South African government. I believe that the issues that have regard to the role of the South African Reserve Bank are properly constitution as well as the powers that I have as Minister. And the IMF has raised a report based on our engagements with them. We note the report. We note that critical in what the IMF is raising is that South Africa needs to step up its efforts to drive growth and recovery in its economy. Those are steps towards. I have indicated that perhaps next week I will be releasing a 30 to enhance growth and recovery in our economy. And so there are steps that we are taking. We believe that the South African economy is going to grow positively this year than we did in the previous year.
Thank you very much, Minister. I'm sure we're still going to have time to speak about a number of issues because we still have at least two more days.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, Minister. That was Minister of Finance, Minister Malusi Gigaba, who just gave us an update as the first day of the G20 gets underway here in Hamburg. Back to the studio.